Coming up on the FSR Sarc Fighter podcast, your best chance to have your sarcoidosis questions answered.
So first of all, I think the summit is an incredible opportunity. The ability to attend a conference virtually and hear from people across the globe, really, patients, caregivers, loved ones who are supporting someone with sarcoidosis.
Everything from navigating insurance issues to sex therapy after sarcoidosis will be available at the 2025 Sarcoidosis Summit.
But this is just our opportunity to either learn or share your experience. And, it's also very unique to the summit. So this content's not going to be available anywhere else.
Everything you need to know is coming up.
This is the Sarc Fighter podcast, living with sarcoidosis and other rare diseases. Here's your host, John Carlin.
Well, welcome to episode 140 of the FSR Sarc Fighter podcast. I am your host, John Carlin. The date of this recording, June 3rd, 2025. I have just completed my recording with two of the leaders of the FSR Summit this year. Elise Hoover is the VP for Research at FSR. She's very active in the background. She's doing a lot of great things for FSR. And Kristen Vargas is the planning lead for this year's summit, which, by the way, is coming up on June 28th and 29th. I want to tell you a little bit more about Kristen. She's an advocate for health equity and patient empowerment, but she's a volunteer and a consultant with the Foundation for Sarcoidosis Research. She supports FSR's mission with strategic guidance, with outreach, leadership development. She has a great background in this. In fact, her commitment to advancing all of this awareness and education and support for those affected by sarcoidosis is deeply personal, fueled by her own journey as a patient. And Kristen is particularly passionate about amplifying patient voices and promoting inclusive, community-centered approaches to care. You should check her out on LinkedIn because she's doing a lot there. And if you look at her profile, you can learn a lot about the things that Kristen is doing, just to give you an idea who will be talking here. But she's had 3 decades in various healthcare leadership roles, and so she's got a strong foundation in operational excellence and community-based care. Now, speaking of the summit, you do need to register online. There's a link in the show notes. There's a small fee, but it's nothing in comparison to what you get in return, and it's actually a lot less than it was last year, and we'll get into that a little bit during the interview coming up. But the deadline to sign up is coming up quickly. It's June 14th, so make sure that you sign up as quickly as you can. So my discussion with Kristen and Elise is coming up in just a minute. I do this podcast, of course. I need to get this out there because I want to help you see hope at the end of the sarcoidosis tunnel. That is that light that's out there, and you will get to it. I want us all also to have this sense of community and to let you know that there are others out there. And that's really what this summit is all about. Sarcoidosis patients and clinicians, researchers, caregivers, experts, in every topic that touches sarcoidosis from all over the world will be there in these breakout sessions. And it's really the best opportunity all year long for all of us to get together and to listen to the experts, but also to talk to one another and share our own stories and to see that, there's a lot of other people out there who have been through what you're going through, and it just gives you that sense of community you wouldn't otherwise have. So again, we'll talk more about that, but just I want to update you on a couple of things personally. First of all, my sarcoidosis continues to be at bay, thank God. Haven't had a flare-up still, and it's June. It's been kind of a coldish, wet spring in the mountains of Virginia, but not too bad. I guess the the thing I have spent so much time being frustrated over, and this seems small compared to sarcoidosis, but I have not one but two broken lawnmowers. Something happened to my original lawnmower, and I needed the lawn mowed really quickly, and I ran out to Lowe's and I bought a second one and parked the first one and said, well, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I got to get this lawn mowed right now, and I don't have time to mess with it, don't have time to fix it, don't have time to have somebody else fix it. So all of a sudden I had another lawnmower. I had two lawnmowers, and then both of them are dead. And I lost an entire day, an entire Saturday, which in my life is a lot because I don't get a lot of spare time working a couple extra jobs and a lot of volunteer commitments and so forth and so on. I love all that stuff, but when I get a day to do stuff around the house, and the lawn was growing like crazy because of all the rain we've had, so I decided, all right, I am going to fix this lawnmower. I can't go buy a third lawnmower. And finding a small engine repair place is kind of hard. Have you tried? Maybe you got a ton of them in your small town, but we don't have them around here. And Roanoke's a decent sized city. There's 300,000 people in and around the little city of Roanoke. But man, I'll tell you. And so for my lawnmowers, I've got some hillsides that I mow. So I have a power assist where you pull the lever and the front wheels pull the lawnmower. So it's front. I don't know what you call it, front wheel drive. Well, in both cases, the both of my lawnmowers, that front drive wouldn't work. So you pulled the lever and nothing happened. Now you've got this heavy lawnmower, and I couldn't make it. It was too heavy for me to push, especially when you're kind of going against. If you could just make it freewheel, you might have just a regular lawnmower, but no, it's really hard to push it unless you're using, I'm talking about this too much, unless you're using the lever to make it go. Anyway, so I said, all right, I am determined to fix this thing. So I watched YouTube videos, and lo and behold, if you remove this bolt and this nut and take off this housing and so forth, you can get to the belt, which is what I thought it was, and you can replace the belt, and you can buy the belt at Lowe's or any big box store. So I took it all apart. I got the belt. I even found a spring that was out of place, put it all back together, pulled the lever, and nothing. The wheels still wouldn't go. Lawnmower started, but the wheels still wouldn't go. And it turned out to be the actual transmission, which is the most expensive problem and about the only thing the average homeowner can't fix. You just have to take the whole front drive apart, and you have to order it online, and it's going to cost me $350 to fix that lawnmower, which is about the same cost as a new mower. But what do? I can't have this lawnmower junkyard in my garage. You can put it out by the road with a sign that says free, just come take it, but that doesn't seem right. So I told the guy, and by the way, it's $125 an hour to have him work on the lawnmower, right? Big sign right into the cash register when you walk in. Labor fee, $125 an hour. And then again, there's no small engine repair places, so what do? Anyway, I took both of these lawnmowers to the shop. Turns out they were able to fix the older mower, and so I have that back. I don't know what it costs because they're going to hit me for everything at once when I pick up the second one, which is fine. But the lawn actually got up to where it was a foot tall, and it was either buy a new lawnmower or pay the fee, pay the ransom, and that all worked out. So as I sit here, my grass is mowed. I'm sure that you were so interested in all that, but man, that's what's been on my mind lately. And I hated losing that whole Saturday and then have it not work. Have to pay the money anyway. I did tell you that over Memorial Day, we were going to take the grandkids camping for the first time, and that I have my 1993 Mini Winnie RV. Well, I got it up and running. I got all the parts working that I needed to. although we were working off of an external generator, and when we tried to make coffee in the morning, the Keurig overpowered the generator, and it turned off all the lights, and the generator groaned, but the Keurig wouldn't work unless I turned off all the lights and the refrigerator, and I ran the Keurig twice to get 1 cup of coffee. You are just hearing all my frustrations today. Anyway, managed to make 4 or 5 cups of coffee in the morning. But the big thing was that I wanted to take, since we bought this vehicle about 5 years ago, I always said, wouldn't it be great, when the grandkids get old enough, because they were babies, that the oldest one was a baby at the time, maybe 2, take the grandkids someday. And it turned out it was just exactly the way I hoped it would be. They loved hanging out inside. And there were 2 families in tents, and Mary and I were in the Mini Winnie. But the kids formed what they called the Mini Winnie Club. You could see them standing in the doorway. Come on, it's the Mini Winnie Club. And they'd all run and jump in there while the adults were able to have a beer and sit around the campfire. And it turned out to be just what I always wanted. And my oldest grandson, Luke, did sleep in the vehicle with me and Mary. The dinette in the vehicle converts to a little sleeping area. And when we bought it, we said, that'd be great to have a grandchild someday. And it was exactly that. It folded out. It was more than big enough for him. He's 7 now. And he was so excited to have a sleepover with Nana and Papa. Now, what I didn't count on was how excited he was going to be. We went to bed. His normal bedtime is 7 o'clock, and we all decided, all right, we'll go. I think it was 10 o'clock at night, and we all decided to turn in. Well, he was so excited to be sleeping in this Mini Winnie with Nana and Papa having a sleepover. He just kept talking and talking and talking. He did not want that part of the night to end. And of course, Mary and I were exhausted. And then sure enough, at 6, he finally went to sleep. 6 a.m., boom, he's wide awake, ready to go. Nana, Papa, time to get up. Time to get up. No, it's not, Luke. Yeah, we got to get up. We got to. But we made some really, really good lasting memories. And so thank you for letting me share that with you. And bike season is back in full. I've been out several times enjoying the countryside. Did a ride on a bunch of dirt roads on Sunday. It was so pretty. Wildflowers are blooming. It's not too hot yet. And every time I get to do something like that, I say, yeah, take that, sarcoidosis. Just take that. I am in remission. I'm controlled. There is hope at the end of the tunnel, and I'm out there doing it and enjoying it. Okay? So just want you to know that all that can happen. Coming up, it's all about this year's summit with Elise and Kristen.
I feel like a zombie, just feeding and stumbling.
Hi, I hope you're enjoying the Sarc Fighter podcast. You may be wondering, what can I do to help? How can I be a part of the sarcoidosis solution? It's simple. Make a donation to KISS, Kick In to Stop Sarcoidosis. 100% of the money goes to the Foundation for Sarcoidosis Research. Look for a link in the show notes of the Sarc Fighter podcast. Welcome back to the FSR Sarc Fighter podcast. I'm joined today by Elise Hoover, who is the FSR.
Thank you, John. So first of all, I think the summit is an incredible opportunity, just as you described, the ability to attend a conference virtually and hear from people across the globe, really, patients, caregivers, loved ones who are supporting someone with sarcoidosis. And so first of all, I think the summit is an incredible opportunity, just as you described, the ability to attend a conference virtually and hear from people across the globe, really, patients, caregivers, loved ones who are supporting someone with sarcoidosis. Thank you, John. So first of all, I think the summit is an incredible opportunity, just as you described, the ability to attend a conference virtually and hear from people across the globe, really, patients, caregivers, loved ones who are supporting someone with sarcoidosis.
Vice President for Research, and Kristen Vargas, who is planning the upcoming summit. And we are going to talk all about the summit today. So, welcome, guys.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah, I can't tell you. So, for people who don't know what the summit is, and the official name is the 2025 FSR Global Virtual Sarcoidosis Summit. It's coming up on June 28th and 29th, and it is basically the gathering of all things sarcoidosis. If you are in the sarcoidosis space, as a patient, as a caregiver, as a researcher, as a pharma company, this is the one place every year where everybody gathers. And so if you're looking for answers, there are people there that can provide the answers. If you are somebody who is looking to provide an answer, this is your opportunity to do that. And it's officially, it is a virtual global arena. I love that. But there are countless educational booths and materials. Think of it as if you went to a big trade show in a big city and you walk into the hotel, and there's a whole line of booths there where you can stop and talk to all the different people. And then you can talk to other patients, and then you can go into the breakout rooms and listen to seminars. Well, all that happens, right? But it's just a matter of doing it online over the course of a weekend in the comfort of your own home, but you walk away with all the same information and a lot less travel cost, right? And I've been a participant in several of these now, usually as a moderator for some of the discussions, because I have no independent expertise other than I've suffered through sarcoidosis. But I'm pretty good at teasing out all the expertise that's out there. So Elise, let's start with you. Or Kristen, let's start with you. What do you want to say first about the summit and what people can expect?
Thank you, John. So first of all, I think the summit is an incredible opportunity, just as you described, the ability to attend a conference virtually and hear from people across the globe, really, patients, caregivers, loved ones who are supporting someone with sarcoidosis. Maybe if you're a clinician that is interested in research, I think that this is really, really a great opportunity. And I think it's so much different as well. We've all attended educational webinars and sessions and meetings through FSR or through other sarcoidosis or maybe clinical aspects. And really, this summit provides a really unique platform. It'll offer opportunities to engage with others from across the globe, maybe patients that are suffering in the same way or thriving in a different way or thriving like you are, and you can get tips. So really, it's a great place to connect. We have a lot of coffee breaks or interactive breaks for patients to be able to connect with one another and chat. And we'll also have affinity groups this year. And that was based on feedback from previous sessions that patients would really like to connect with people that have the same manifestation of sarcoidosis and understand, how do you sort of deal with this, or what are your best tips? So we're going to have sessions with these affinity groups to be able to allow patients to really connect with one another and provide advice and support that you don't get through a typical, webinar session. So that's what I'm most excited about and why I hope people register and attend.
I'm glad you're doing those affinity groups. I can tell you that when I've had a neurosarc patient come on the podcast, and we just had a chance to get down into it and talk about how frustrating it is, that has really, really helped me out a lot, and I'm sure that'll be helpful to other patients. Elise, what do you want to talk about as the VP for research?
Sure. Yeah. Hi, John. I will say that I am just one of a larger team led by Kristen planning this summit. So just so happy to be here to talk about it. I get most excited about the research sessions, but I do want to just add to what Kristen said about the power of connection of this summit. So the platform that we're using has a AI capability that allows us to match attendees with each other. So like you said, people who are both suffering from the same kind of sarcoidosis, or maybe do similar activities, are of a similar age, live in a similar region. We're finding ways to connect them through the platform so that when they're in those groups, they can have a lot of opportunities to start conversations. We also have a fantastic program called the Global Sarcoidosis Clinic Alliance. Those are hospitals and institutions across the country with experts in sarcoidosis. And so they're going to have booths as well, where you can learn about their clinic and see their resources. So just so much going on, connecting people together, whether they're patients or clinicians, across different relationships. So really excited about that. But when I mention our team at FSR working on this, this is 2 full days of a large variety of topics in these sessions. So some might be specific to someone who's has a certain kind of sarcoidosis, and some might be broader and interesting to anyone who's impacted by the disease. So we've tried to be really thoughtful about those topics, and we've been listening to a lot of the conversations from our community to make sure that they'd be interested in hearing about these and in having an opportunity to talk about them. So yeah, I can't wait to delve in.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's amazing. Now, you said something that really piqued my interest. You talked about the AI aspect of this. That's new for sure. What's going on with that?
Yeah, so you'll see if someone registers, we ask a lot of questions about their experience and what they're interested in. And so essentially our platform tags folks on their accounts so that they can be directed to certain sessions that might interest them. And of course, this is a pick your own journey kind of summit. So you're welcome to visit any session or any affinity group or any coffee chat. But we want to just make it as easy as possible to see the things that might interest you the most. But Kristen, anything you want to add there?
No, again, I think that you described it perfectly, Elise, that really by gathering the information up front with the registration, we'll be able to guide you. And as Elise said, it's really a pick your own journey, but sometimes it can be really overwhelming too, to know where should I go? What should I attend? Oh, I want to attend a couple of things. And so hopefully this will be able to guide and help you with those connections, which again, I can't say enough of as a previous attendee of the summit, of how valuable those connections really are, to be able to have conversations with patients, or hey, I'm new to this. I was newly diagnosed, in attending my first session, and so what do I have to look forward to, fellow patient? Like what else, or what should I be looking out for? Because I had so many questions. So it was really a great opportunity for that.
Yeah. Well, let's back up just a little bit. Kristen, who do you think is the perfect audience for the summit?
Well, I think patients are absolutely the perfect audience. And I think really at any point in your journey, you're going to hear us speak about some of the sessions a little bit later. And there really are sessions for those who are newly diagnosed. Either you're newly diagnosed completely, or maybe you have a new manifestation. But we also have a few more maybe advanced summits or topics for those that maybe understand their disease a little bit better, or have learned to navigate the waters a little bit differently. So I really think patients are first and foremost who this session is for. But again, really, I think caregivers can benefit. I think clinicians are going to benefit. Elise is going to talk a lot about how we're bringing some of the research platforms. So I think that there's a lot to learn. But first and foremost, this is really for patients and caregivers, but anyone really who's affected by sarcoidosis in one way or another.
Yeah. Elise, what do you think? Who do you see as the perfect person to
Oh
come
yeah,
to the summit?
absolutely what Kristen said. We're telling all of our speakers to consider this to be a patient audience, or an audience of folks impacted by sarcoidosis in some way. And so that's how they're thinking about presenting this information. That's how our researchers are thinking about presenting their research. So we want to make this accessible so that folks can understand and ask questions, and really just add to the collective knowledge of the disease.
Gotcha. So let's look at what the topics are that'll be offered. Elise, do you want to kind of give people a rundown of the various areas they can expect where the experts are, the breakout rooms, and the big sessions in the morning as well?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's there's so much, and I know that Kristen and I are both excited about different topics. There are a few that are repeated or carried over from our last summit, and just because they're repeated doesn't mean that they're not refreshed. But one that I'm really excited about is called Ask the Experts. And so, we hear from our community that there are so many questions that we all have that are not answered. And so we pulled together a panel of specialists in sarcoidosis. We have a neurologist, a rheumatologist, a pulmonologist, and a cardiologist. And essentially, they're going to sit with us for 50 minutes and answer questions directly from attendees. So they're not presenting anything. They're just there to answer those questions and, talk amongst each other about the way that they would think about it differently in their own specialty. And our goal for that session is to create an environment where our community is provided with the most up-to-date clinical best practices information and knowledge about the disease. And I'm just really excited to see the questions that attendees come with. But Kristen, is there another one that we're repeating that you want to talk about?
Yes. So I think this is a popular tract of sessions every single year, and that's our Sarcoidosis 101 sessions. And really we'll dive into, in this case, we're going to have 3 specific manifestations of sarcoidosis: cardiac sarcoidosis, pulmonary sarcoidosis, and neurosarcoidosis. And these sessions are really designed for that patient who's maybe newly diagnosed to their particular manifestation of sarcoidosis. Maybe they are feeling like they're having symptoms that are similar to that manifestation of sarcoidosis. So they'll learn about symptoms and diagnosis and how doctors really determine, do you have this particular manifestation or do you have sarcoidosis? And then we'll dive a little bit into the treatment plans and the ways that the disease or that particular manifestation is most commonly treated. So we'll have those sessions, and then we're kind of adding this into as a Sarcoidosis 101, and we're going to have a really frank discussion on steroids and sarcoidosis. So we know that prednisone is a very common treatment for those with sarcoidosis, and so we'll learn more about research that's been done about why that's the case, in addition to other treatments that practitioners and researchers are really looking at. And then we'll have the second part of that discussion will really be about, okay, you're on prednisone now, what do you do? What other comorbidities should you be on the lookout for? How can you manage other aspects of your health that maybe prednisone or long-term use of prednisone is impacting? So I think that this is always really an exciting time. Again, I think so many new patients attend our summit every single year. And so I think that this is a really great opportunity to just get a better understanding of the disease you're walking with these days. So and really have a better understanding of questions you need to ask your doctor and things that you need to be on the lookout for.
I don't think you can talk about prednisone enough.
No. As a matter of fact, I think I have a chat board on prednisone. We have a session on prednisone, and then we're going to have a coffee chat on prednisone. So there will be lots of opportunities, I think, for patients to share their experience and to be able to learn from one another and learn from clinicians as well. So you're absolutely right.
Yeah. The Dr. Sanjay from Atire, who's working on a drug to replace prednisone, referred to prednisone as the devil's Tic Tacs.
Yes.
And, Sanjay Shukla. And that just has stuck with me, and that's exactly how I feel. And I will not pull any punches when it comes to how much I disliked being on high doses of prednisone. So what's new this year? Do you guys have anything new?
Yes, there are several new sessions, and I don't think we'll have time to go through all of them. But one of the sessions that I'm most excited about is a session that I think our patients have been asking for. It's been a topic that we haven't covered very frequently in many of our sessions, whether it be through webinars or through past summits. And we're going to have a very special session on intimacy and sarcoidosis. We have Zoe Kors, who is a renowned sex therapist and author, she wrote a book called Radical Intimacy, has agreed to join us and have an incredibly transparent and open conversation about what does it mean when you have a chronic illness. And we all know that things change with our bodies and our how much exertion and just, different things that change with us with having a chronic illness. And so she's going to have a very open and honest conversation about what that means and hopefully give us ways that we can improve those relationships and really bring back that feeling of love and intimacy into whatever relationship you are a part of. And so I'm really excited. I think she's an excellent speaker, and I've been able to hear her a couple of different times. So I'm so thankful that she was able to join us, and I think it's going to be a really popular and remarkable conversation for folks to join. So that's the session, the newest session that I think I'm most excited about this year. What about you, Elise?
Yes, there's one called Navigating Insurance and Access to Care that I'm really interested in. So, I think we all can agree that health insurance shouldn't be a barrier to getting the care you need, but often it is. And so the session's meant to break down, how the insurance claims process works, what to do when your medication or your procedure is denied, and, how to really advocate for yourself effectively. And we're bringing in the Patient Advocate Foundation, which is a partner of ours. They're a nonprofit organization, and they provide case management services and financial aid to Americans who are, dealing with illnesses like sarcoidosis and trying to navigate the insurance system. But we're also going to have someone who's impacted by sarcoidosis, a patient who has recently taken quite a journey with the insurance claim system, and she's going to share about that and what she learned. So I am excited to hear those different conversations in that context.
Yeah, I have a couple of thoughts here. Number one, we have just described the two polar opposites. We have on one side a sex therapist, and we have on the other side the very interesting navigating your insurance. And yet both are relevant. Both, I'm sure, at some level are frustrating, and both are life-changing. So, part of
Something
me,
for everyone, right, John?
well, there you go. So you think a lot of people are going to tune in for the one on with our sex therapist?
I think so. I think it provides a really interesting platform. Again, most of these sessions are conducted on a very much like a Zoom type setting. They'll be able to ask questions and not in an anonymous way. So it's not like you have to ask the question to the entire group and know that Kristen is asking this question. You can ask it privately to the moderator. And I think anyone that researches anything about Zoe Kors, I think, and hears anything that she has to speak about, I think they'll be open and want to hear about it. And again, we've heard so much feedback from patients that this is a topic that really they'd like to hear more about. So I think that first and foremost kind of leads us to that. So we're hoping so, yes.
Maybe if everything works out, both of those folks, the insurance person and Zoe Kors, might maybe we can convince them to come on the podcast, because I do
There you
think
go.
I do think I have been denied and denied and denied right up until the very last second, and beyond a couple of times, for drugs that I'm already taking. And then you got to come up for renewal, and they deny, 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 deny. And my poor doctors are writing letters and going through everything. And yeah, that's a tough one on the insurance side. So, in terms of research, Elise, what are people going to hear? Because we're all looking for that drug that is the cure, or at least something beyond prednisone and methotrexate that really works. Is there going to be will there be some presentations on that?
Yeah, so we have 3 sessions that are, I think, be most valuable in this. One is we're having an emerging therapy session where we talk about some of the different ways that our specialists are thinking about managing the disease. We're also having, for the first time, a virtual poster session at the summit. So this is going to be one on each day, Saturday and Sunday. And we're going to bring forward some researchers who are looking at these questions and thinking about them and have them present their work and answer questions about it. And so, at scientific conferences, poster sessions offer, an efficient way to communicate research findings and stay up to date in the field. But when we have it at a patient-facing conference like our summit, they give researchers the valuable opportunity to talk to patients about their work and how that's going to translate to the way that we're thinking about their care in the clinic, the way that we're thinking about their treatments or their management options. And so not only, hopefully is this interesting to attendees, but it's really beneficial for our researchers to be able to have those conversations because the questions or feedback they receive from our attendees could change the way they're thinking about the question they're trying to answer or the problem they're trying to solve. So, we have a variety of different research topics. Some are from funded grantees from FSR, others are collaborators that we're working with. They come from, Colorado, Iowa, California, Pennsylvania, Illinois, the UK, and Portugal. So we have a lot of people come together talking about what they're all thinking about, and I'm just really excited for that conversation.
Yep. So when you say global, you really mean global.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sarcoidosis Summit.
Yeah. And then, the third session, of course, is the future of sarcoidosis research. What's next? So we're going to pull out 2 to 3 key research questions that we think the field might have the potential to answer in the next 5 years. We're going to talk about FSR's patient registry. We're actually launching the new version this month. So it's like perfect timing to be talking about that program and what it looks like. And how patients can participate in research and why it's so valuable to move the field forward to have those participants and to hear from them. So I could talk about research all day, John, but I think we're going to have some really interesting ways to engage with researchers at the summit.
Outstanding. All right. But, is there ever, why are we not doing this in person? I understood back when it was COVID, but why are we not doing this in person anymore? Is it just too expensive?
I think there are several reasons for that. I think expense is one of those. I think being able to have the clinicians, just as Elise said, right? We're going to have researchers from Portugal and the UK, and I believe we have speakers from Denmark and Spain as part of our sessions. And so I think being able to bring those clinicians in and be able to have them for, an entire 2 days to be a part of this, I think would be extremely cost prohibitive, as well as just the fact of, getting there. And sometimes the burden of travel can be very difficult for patients to be able to attend. So we really think that this opens up the ability to truly make it a global session, be able to have attendees from around the world be able to attend, whether it's a speaker or whether it's an actual patient, and really make those connections. So I do think that COVID kind of did us a favor, I think, in that sort of sense, because it's a truly unique platform in the way that it, builds connection. And as we've talked about before with some of the AI aspects and things like that. So I think it really provides for a cost prohibitive way, as well as, just sometimes a better way for folks to be able to connect and to be able to do so in their own way and from the comfort of their home. So.
Yeah. At least if somebody, this is on the weekend, right? In June.
Yeah.
Pretty time of year, right? Right. It's what is it, the first weekend after the start of summer. So a lot of outdoor activities, especially if you're like me and you just thrive on that. But if someone's considering, should I sign up for the summit? Should I not sign up for the summit? What would you say to say, hey, it's worth to take a day or 2 days out of your outdoor activities and enjoy? Come learn something, come participate, come be a part of this community.
Sure. Yeah, well, I will start by saying that this is not intended to be a space for direct medical advice. But what we do hope it will be is a great way to learn about how doctors think about treating sarcoidosis, how patients think about engaging with their doctors. We're really building, collective knowledge here. As we've said throughout this conversation, there are a lot of unanswered questions that we all have. And the best place to start thinking about how to answer those questions is coming together live, not in person, but virtually making connections. And it's just such a unique opportunity that, I think FSR hosts these every 18 months. So we do hope to have another one, a year and a half from now, but this is just our opportunity to either learn or share your experience. And it's also very unique to the summit. So this content's not going to be available anywhere else. If you register, you'll have access to the recordings from these sessions for up to a month afterwards. So you can always attend a couple live and then watch the rest on your own time. But we hope that, a couple live experiences will be valuable, and we appreciate everyone considering taking time away from the sunny days and
Right.
camping and hiking and getting outside to think about attending this.
Yeah, all the stuff. But this is a rare opportunity as well, and that I think that's the
Exactly.
point. So why now you can't just show up though. You gotta sign up. There is a small fee, and when we hear about all the different things that you guys have going on, all the people and all the different countries and the doctors and the researchers and Kristen's time as the summit planning lead, as a consultant, and Elise and everybody on the team. Because I know enough to know that this is a super heavy lift, and it takes time and it takes money, and so there is a small registration fee. Um, why would you say that's worth paying? Either one of you. Whoever wants to answer that.
I can start. I think first of all, it's worth paying because again, it does take a lot to put on the summit. The platform, it does cost us money to be able to, engage the services and be able to use this platform to be able to connect. But again, I think, as Elise said, you're not going to be able to get this content anywhere else. So FSR has an amazing virtual library of past webinars and discussions and things like this that you can go back and do research on. But this content won't be available there. It'll only be available through this platform for the limited time. I think that's first and foremost. So it takes time and it takes money for us to be able to host this. And I think that's why it's important. I think connection is the other reason why it's important. So as Elise said, certainly you'll have the ability to watch these presentations for a month after the summit. But if you're able to attend at least somewhat live, again, you get to meet other patients, perhaps that are going through the same journey as you are, and be able to provide help to them and receive help yourself. So I think that connection piece is incredibly important and something that is very unique to this type of session. And then finally, what I would say is FSR has been really thoughtful. So this decision was made before I came on board, and I was so glad that it was a decision that was made. So they've reduced the cost of the summit from $75 last year to $40 this year. So really they heard the feedback that, gosh, if we could make this more accessible, I might think about attending. So it's only $40 for 2 days worth of content that you'll be able to see. And if that's still cost prohibitive, we have a number of scholarships that are still available to help patients. We don't want this to be a barrier, but we also know that it's very much worth your time to be able to attend, which is why we've lowered the cost threshold and we want as many people to attend as possible.
Got it. Kristen, Elise, do you want to add anything to that?
No, just we're so excited for this opportunity to provide resources to the community, to have conversations, and we're always looking for new ways to provide resources to our community and hear the kind of topics that you want to be learning from or contributing to. So we hope that you'll consider joining us, and that if there's something else that you really want us to think about hosting in the next session, that you let us know, because this is something, for our community, but it's also just so beneficial to FSR to be able to engage in this way and have our ear to the ground with the people that we're serving. So, thank you, John, so much for having us on. And I just can't wait for 3 weeks from now to join one at the summit.
I could probably use a little more time, but I also can't wait, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And you want people to register by June 14th, right?
Yes, we need people to register so that we can get them all set up in the platform. We'll be hosting a training with the vendor of the platform to be able to show participants like the best way to navigate. We'll host that live, but we'll also obviously record it if you can't make it, so that any attendees will be able to see and have some sort of preview before the summit starts. So we'll close registration on the 14th. We'll probably have that training on the 19th or 20th to be able to allow participants to get a sneak peek and a preview of the platform and how to use it, and have some time to set up your profile and put your profile picture in so people know who you are,
right.
and kind of make it your own before the summit starts on the 28th.
Great. Guys, thank you for everything you're doing for all of us, for all the time, but in particular with the summit.
Thank you, John, and thanks for all you're doing. We really enjoy hearing the interviews that you do, that you put out with researchers and with patients, and we're just so grateful to have you as a part of our community.
Absolutely. Thanks, John. I appreciate it so much.
I feel like a zombie, just feeding and stumbling.
Thanks so much to Kristen and Elise for everything they are doing to put this summit together. And they're the two spokespeople, but I can tell you it is an army of people working behind the scenes to bring this virtual summit all together. They did lower the cost, which I think is wonderful. And if that cost is still too much, there are scholarships available. You heard them mention that. I think it was Kristen who was talking about that towards the end of the discussion. So, look, this is a great place for all of us to show up, and let's take advantage of everything FSR is doing to put this together for all of us. So, again, and that's coming up on June 28th and 29th, and I hope to see you there. Please, I do want to say that it's a good time to contact me if you'd like to share your story on the podcast. Best thing to do is to start out with an email at carlinagency@gmail.com. And I want to remind you, the official Sarc Fighter song is Zombie by Mark Steyer and his band, the White Hot Lizards. And Mark's a fellow Sarc fighter. He wrote those lyrics, and man, do they talk to us. We had an update from Mark back in episode 118, and the original interview was way back in episode 12. I release the podcast every other Monday. As I'm speaking today, both of my trusty dogs, Dougal and Shandy, are curled up. One's on the chair, one's on the dog bed in my home office and recording studio. The backstory to the founding for the Foundation for Sarcoidosis Research is episode 11 with Andrea and Redding Wilson. And by the way, it's been 25 years now since the founding of FSR. Don't forget to follow Sarc Fighter on Facebook and Instagram. I'm on Peloton. I have a cycling blog. Do people still read blogs? I hope so, because I really like writing them. But it's Carlin the Cyclist, and I do have a section there called Cycling with Sarcoidosis. Also, if you're new here and you just want to know what Sarc is, it's episode 2 with Dr. Simon Hart. That is sort of my Sarcoidosis 101 episode, and if you want to know my whole backstory, that's episode 1. So please do send me an email. It's in the show notes, carlinagency@gmail.com. Thanks again to Kristen and Elise for joining me this time, and until next time, keep fighting.
Learn to suffer, you feel pain. Dead men walking, trying to keep up the pace. Dead men walking, counting